There was no, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any correlation of that. And
This opening instantly captures interest, drawing viewers in with hints of mysterious creatures and the personal involvement of the speaker. A perfect hook for anyone intrigued by unexplained phenomena.
The creatures that are described in Socorro in New Mexico and in Valençol in France, so those are three cases that I've been very involved in from the beginning, from day one, involve creatures that are about 3 feet tall, that breathe our air,
Hairless?
recognize our signals, communicate with us in funny ways, even mentally. I mean, the witnesses describe getting images in their minds and so on, in all three cases. And what's interesting is, people can argue about Trinity all they want, like they argue about Roswell, but the case in Socorro and the case in France, in Valençol, were investigated by government.
This segment powerfully emphasizes authenticity by noting official governmental interest. It's fascinating to learn about the genuine fear and confusion of official witnesses, enhancing the credibility and intrigue of these cases.
Not by, the local UFO group, although the local UFO group did a good job in all those cases. But they were, in Socorro, it was first the local police, the local policemen saw the craft and the beings and described what happened. He was terrified, but when the thing took off, he thought it was something to do with some new gadget or some work in the desert. It's an area that's still in the same state today. I've gone back there with Dr. Hynek's son, with Paul Hynek a few months ago. I've gone several times there. And so after the police, turned out the FBI was in town on another case. They had no jurisdiction in New Mexico for that particular case. It wasn't a federal case, but they helped preserve the traces, the FBI way. And the local police was happy to have them there. And then there was the state police came in and did an investigation, and then people from the base, came in with experts in explosives, experts in recovery of weapons and rockets and so on, because they thought it might be something that had come from the Trinity range that was out of its way and had crashed near Socorro, in which case they might have responsibility, including financial responsibility, if something was destroyed or whatever. So,
compelling details about government investigations add depth to the story, raising important questions about what authorities might know. This segment strongly reinforces the serious nature of UFO encounters.
This was very serious. I have the whole file. Okay, it's a big file.
Right.
Nobody's looking at it. I mean, the investigation in Washington now, they are saying, we're going to look at the cases of the last 12 months. Well, what kind of science is that? Can you imagine scientists reading this? And this is the way they are going to solve the UFO problem, by looking at vague pictures of lights in the sky for 1 year? Why don't they go back to those records? Those are federal records. Okay, the case in Valençol, 5 agencies of the French government. So this guy was a farmer. He had a field where he was growing plants to make perfume. So this was high-level, expensive crop. This wasn't just, alfalfa or something. And he goes there at 5 o'clock in the morning because, he wants to do to water the thing and so on before the sun is up, because it's going to be it's in the south of France. It's going to be very hot. You can't work in the field during the early afternoon. So he wants to be done with that. He sees this contraption, in the middle of the field, crushing the plants. And so he sneaks in, and he's paralyzed. Okay? Now, there is an egg-shaped object, just like the one, at Trinity, just like the one in Socorro. It's the size of a mid-sized truck. There are two creatures in front of it, human looking, two eyes, and breathing air. They look at him, sort of amused, and one of them has something on his belt. He takes out, pointed at him, and that's when he's paralyzed. Now, he's not, as you know, I'm not a doctor, but I've gone to doctors about what kind of paralysis is that, where you can stand up and watch something, you just can't move. They said, well, there is a type of paralysis that will just inhibit the motor, motor nerves, where but you'll still be up and aware. You're not going to fall down, in a heap. And from there, he sees them going back inside the thing. The thing takes off. It takes off like a shot out of a gun, and it vanishes in midair.
The vivid imagery here creates a captivating narrative. The scientific explanation of the paralysis lends authenticity, making this part particularly gripping.
Now, he goes to see the gendarmes. This man is fairly wealthy. He owns quite a bit of, several fields, expensive crops. His wife is the mayor of the town. The gendarmes are going to be very careful with him because he's also from the resistance in World War II. When he was young, he joined the resistance, and the resistance in that part of France fought in the Alps against the Germans, and they were regarded as heroes of World War II. And so the gendarmes are very careful with him. There are some things he's not going to tell the gendarmes because he thinks, and I went there, he didn't want to talk to anybody from Paris. He didn't want to be on TV. He wanted to concentrate on his experience because he thought there was going to be something else. And he was aware of some of his buddies. Now, this is a part of France where people talk, but they have secrets too. I mean, historically, there are things like that in the U.S., parts where people are not going to talk to strangers.
Right.
The only reason I could go there was that I went there with a lady who was from Paris, with the government. She was with de Gaulle's government. She had the rank of ambassador, and she had a vacation home there. So we went there for 3 days, and she knew everybody there. And he told us what he thought might happen again. And he didn't want the gendarmes mixed in with what he was doing.
Why did he think that something was going to happen?
This adds suspense and human depth, painting the witness as someone trustworthy yet secretive, deepening the mystery and leaving viewers curious about hidden details.
Again.
They evidently, and he swore us to secrecy about what it was, but evidently there was communication with the beings when he was there.
And
now,
so these beings just tiny, look like people. Did they have different features than us? Or was it just human
They are
features?
just like the ones at Trinity and like the ones at Socorro.
This conclusion leaves viewers eagerly pondering the broader implications. It suggests a much larger story waiting to unfold, effectively leaving the audience craving more answers.